What just happened between Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Plum, and Nike isn't just about basketball. It's about betrayal, billion-dollar wars, and a masterclass in psychological domination. At the center of it all, a rookie with a billion-dollar brand behind her, and a veteran who made one fatal mistake. You thought this was about points and assists? Think again. This is corporate warfare. And Caitlin Clark just detonated the biggest bombshell the WNBA has ever seen. It all started with 4 simple words. Clark didn't rant. She didn't call anyone out by name. But her silence? Deafening. Because behind a curtain of media spin and all-star weekend smiles, Nike wasn't just launching a marketing campaign. They were launching an invasion. And Clark was the Trojan horse. A $28 million endorsement deal wasn't about shoes. It was about control. Control over narratives, over athletes, over the very structure of women's sports. Nike didn't sign Caitlin Clark to play ball. They signed her to change the game entirely. And not just on the court. Behind the scenes, this was a move designed to cripple Under Armour's entire foothold in the WNBA. A deal of this magnitude wasn't just about highlighting a rising star. It was a signal, a shot across the bow. And the target? Kelsey Plum, Under Armour's golden girl, who suddenly found herself outflanked by a rookie with more digital firepower than most leagues can dream of. For years, Under Armour had been grooming Plum as her answer to Nike's dominance. They invested millions in her image, her brand, her message. She wasn't just a player, she was a symbol, the reliable veteran, the battle-tested leader. And then came Clark, armed with TikToks, ESPN highlight reels, and a hype machine that would make the NFL jealous. Suddenly, Plum was no longer the future. She was the past. And the pressure? It mounted fast. The media turned. Fans turned. Brands turned. One moment, Plum was the face of resilience. The next, she was a cautionary tale. Because this wasn't just a story of 2 players. It was the opening move in a billion-dollar chess game. And Clark didn't blink. She didn't boast. She let her sponsors do the talking. And Nike? They spoke volumes. Then came the moment that changed everything. On live television, at the height of all-star buzz, Kelsey Plum did what no corporate strategist could have predicted. She fired a shot. 0 members of Team Clark were present for that. It was meant as a jab, a mic drop moment. But what Plum didn't realize was that she wasn't just criticizing a fellow player. She was publicly calling out a multi-billion-dollar brand that doesn't forgive or forget. Those words echoed across the league like a warning shot. But this time it backfired. Because Plum wasn't punching up, she was punching into a corporate buzzsaw. Nike, blindsided for all of 2 seconds, launched into motion. And it wasn't loud. It wasn't chaotic. It was precise, clinical, deadly. While Clark said nothing, Nike pulled strings, pulled data, pulled the rug out from under Armour's narrative. Every major sports outlet suddenly flooded the airwaves with stories of Clark's financial impact. Every trending topic somehow tied back to Clark's jersey sales, her TV numbers, her crowd-drawing power. It wasn't organic. It was orchestrated. Nike let the silence hang just long enough to make it deafening. Then they struck, not with statements, with algorithms, with narratives, with results. What fans saw was a media storm. What actually happened was a corporate takedown. Plum, unknowingly, had handed Nike the perfect storyline. The veteran sounding petty, the rookie staying graceful. It was a branding dream. And in boardrooms across America, marketing execs took notes. Because this wasn't just PR, it was dominance. Executed flawlessly. But the real twist? It gets worse. What if I told you Kelsey Plum may have violated her own contract in the process of this debacle? That's right. Sources say Plum's presence at Nike events while under contract with Under Armour triggered a panic at the executive level. Not just bad optics, not just a slip-up, a potential breach. The kind of mistake that could cost a brand millions. Insiders whisper about Project Disruption, a last-ditch Under Armour initiative to claw back relevance in women's sports. And the centerpiece? Kelsey Plum. She was supposed to be the anti-Clark, the symbol of grit over glitz. But when she started appearing at Nike-sponsored events, the message fell apart. She wasn't battling the enemy. She was accidentally endorsing them. Images surfaced of Plum smiling, laughing, unknowingly giving her competitor free ad space. And the internet noticed. The memes were brutal. The commentary unforgiving. Under Armour executives, already reeling, were forced into emergency meetings. But by then, it was too late. The damage had been done. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was professional. Catastrophic. This wasn't a player beef. It was corporate espionage disguised as a media moment. And Plum, she didn't even know she was a pawn until the game was over. That's the power of strategy. That's the power of Nike. And Clark, she just sat back and watched the dominoes fall. And yet, that wasn't even the final play. Because Nike's not just operating in real time, they're thinking 10 steps ahead. Industry experts have started uncovering a pattern, a formula, even for how Nike handles these situations. Step 1, silence. Step 2, flood the zone with digital content. Step 3, watch the data shift. And with Caitlin Clark, they perfected it. According to insiders, Nike is actively coaching their athletes in social media warfare. We're talking briefings, consultants, digital metrics that go far beyond retweets and likes. They're tracking sentiment analysis, keyword spikes, demographic shifts. It's warfare, conducted through phones, not fists. Clark's silence was strategic. It wasn't avoidance, it was the bait. And once Plum bit, Nike released the hounds. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't about who showed up at a CBA meeting. It was about who could move mountains without saying a word. And Clark, she moved markets. In less than 2 days, Nike's stock price rose 2.3%. Under Armour's dropped nearly 2%. Social media engagement exploded. And the message was clear. The future isn't about who talks the loudest. It's about who controls the algorithm. And Clark, she's fluent in that language. But it gets even deeper. While most fans watch highlight reels and headlines, tech insiders discovered something far more chilling. Nike is quietly developing an integrated athlete ecosystem that connects performance data, social engagement, and consumer behavior, all in real time. Every post, every controversy, every jersey sale, all of it is being fed into a machine that learns, adapts, and monetizes. And Kelsey Plum, unknowingly, has been feeding that machine data Nike can now use to destroy its competitors even faster. That's not just smart. That's terrifying. Under Armour tried to pivot, rebrand Plum as the authentic vet versus the flashy social media star. But the attempt fell flat. Instead of coming across as grounded, she looked bitter, jealous, outdated. And Clark, she never even raised her voice. Fans didn't just pick sides. The market did too. And the WNBA, already deep in expansion and media negotiations, has quietly adjusted its metrics. Every franchise valuation, every ad deal, every network bid, it's now tied to the Clark effect. Because Nike doesn't just own a player, they own the formula. And Caitlin Clark is a variable that multiplies everything she touches. She's not just a star, she's a system that's rewriting the business of sports in real time. The ripple effect? Massive. Marketing agencies are revising their athlete playbooks. Brands are changing how they scout talent. Even retailers are shifting what they stock, all based on Clark's data footprint. That's power. Measurable, weaponized power. And within the WNBA itself, the hierarchy is shifting. Players who once thought of Instagram as a hobby now see it as a battlefield. Several have hired strategists, consultants, digital warfare experts. Because the new rule is simple. Every post is intelligence, and every like is leverage. Clark understood this before anyone else. She's not chasing viral moments. She's engineering them. She's turned herself into a financial instrument, one that can generate stock movements, crush rivals, and reshape an entire league, all without saying a word. So what now? The old model, show up, play hard, sign the check, is dead. In its place, a new economy where athletes are weapons, and every sponsorship is a war strategy. Nike's ahead of the curve. Under Armour scrambling to catch up, and the rest of the sports world is watching, terrified. Kelsey Plum became the cautionary tale. She brought traditional thinking to a digital battlefield, and she lost. Not because she wasn't talented, but because she underestimated the game that was really being played. And Clark, she wrote the rule book. This isn't just WNBA drama. This is the future. Tech companies, media giants, even political campaigns, they're all dissecting Clark's playbook. What she's done isn't just disrupt women's sports. She's redefined corporate influence in real time. They're calling it the Clark Doctrine, the idea that authenticity, timing, and algorithmic strategy can beat legacy, experience, and brute force every time. Business schools are taking notes. Executives are sweating. And athletes everywhere, they're waking up. Because this isn't a trend. This is a takeover. A revolution disguised as a rookie season. Caitlin Clark didn't just win a media war. She changed the entire battlefield. And now, the question isn't if others will follow. It's who will survive. And just when you thought the dust had settled, when it seemed like the fallout from Plum's mic drop moment and Clark's silent dominance had run its course, the storm got even darker. Because beneath the surface, behind the headlines and the hashtags, a more sinister truth was brewing. The WNBA wasn't just reacting to Clark effect. It was restructuring itself around it, quietly, deliberately, and every franchise exec in the league knew what that meant: adapt or become obsolete. Franchise owners started making calls, asking questions they never asked before. How many followers does our top scorer have? What's the engagement rate on that press conference clip? Can we optimize this draft pick's social footprint before media day? Suddenly, stats weren't enough. You could drop 30 a night, but if you didn't trend on Twitter while doing it, you were invisible. And Clark? She didn't just trend, she dominated timelines. Agents began shifting their strategies overnight. The old school approach: negotiate shoe deals, push for media spots, smile at community events, was thrown out the window. In its place, social media data audits, influencer partnerships, brand compatibility algorithms. They weren't building athletes anymore. They were building ecosystems. The same kind Clark had already mastered, and the same kind that would leave veterans like Plum playing catch-up with ghosts. Meanwhile, corporate America took note. Financial firms, tech conglomerates, even AI companies started digging into Clark's metrics, not because they care about basketball, but because they saw the power of personality-driven economic influence. If one player could tank a competitor's stock, imagine what an entire team of algorithmically trained influencers could do. Clark wasn't just changing sports. She was altering the architecture of influence itself. And the scariest part? The players who don't understand this shift are walking into a minefield blindfolded. Every tweet, every IG story, every sideline smirk, it's being recorded, analyzed, stored. Not for highlights, but for leverage. The modern athlete isn't just judged by performance. They're judged by volatility, marketability, and impact potential. Clark knew this. She's always known this. And that's why she's still winning. But now, a new question looms. What happens when the leagues themselves become pawns in this game? When media partners, sponsors, and tech developers start favoring teams not for wins, but for virality? We're already seeing it. Teams with social media stars are getting prime-time slots. Jersey sponsors are making demands based on Instagram reach. Players are being mic'd up not for strategy, but for sizzle. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Caitlin Clark just keeps rising. The WNBA's leadership, caught flat-footed, has started implementing their own internal influence metrics. Yes, it's real. Sources confirm there are now internal league documents analyzing players' brand synergy scores, how well they align with league narratives, sponsor goals, and engagement benchmarks. Think you're just a hooper? Think again. You're a brand, and if you don't perform like one, you're in trouble. Kelsey Plum, once a flagship, has gone radio silent. No public rebuttal. No let me clarify post. And maybe that's smart. Or maybe it's resignation. Because now, every word she says is being dissected, twisted, flipped into content for Clark Machine. Her silence isn't strategic like Clark's. It's survival. She's trying not to bleed more in a corporate ocean full of sharks. And Clark? She's not gloating. She doesn't need to. Every move she makes now is amplified by an infrastructure designed to protect her, promote her, and profit from her. She doesn't chase the story. She is the story. Every time her name trends, a boardroom smiles. Every time a rival slips, her value multiplies. And the scariest part is she's still just getting started, because what Clark has built isn't just influence, it's insulation. A fortress of brand equity so strong that even when controversy hits, she doesn't fall, she pivots. When the critics come, Nike turns up the volume. When the headlines sour, social engagement spikes. She's not reactive. She's responsive. She's not surviving the chaos. She's orchestrating it. And this blueprint, it's being replicated. Quietly, other rising stars are taking notes. Some are hiring digital image firms. Some are hiring former campaign consultants. One WNBA rookie even hired a TikTok strategist from a presidential campaign. This isn't about basketball anymore. This is war. And Clark drew the first blood without ever raising her voice. Plum may have fired the first verbal shot, but it was Clark who dropped the nuke. Not with venom, not with vengeance, but with a smile, a stat sheet, and a silence that drowned out every headline. She didn't clap back. She sat back. And in doing so, she weaponized grace like a blade. She proved you don't need to talk to control the narrative. You just need to own the algorithm. And here's the gut punch that every veteran in the league now feels. It's not enough to be great. You have to be loudly great, strategically visible, digitally optimized. Clark isn't just a player. She's a marketing virus, infecting every corner of the league with a new standard. And that standard, it's not just be better, it's be seen. Executives are scrambling. Sponsors are shifting budgets. Front offices are reevaluating rosters based on TikTok potential. This isn't paranoia, it's strategy. Because the next Caitlin Clark isn't going to emerge in a gym. She's going to emerge in a data set. And brands know it. Coaches know it. Even fans deep down know it. This isn't the WNBA we thought we were watching. It's the WNBA 2.0, an ecosystem where performance and persona are inseparable, where your social capital can make or break a team's future, where one comment, like Plum's, can detonate an entire brand strategy, and where one silent rookie can unmake a veteran's entire legacy. So, if you're wondering what just happened, don't. It wasn't a feud. It wasn't drama. It was evolution. The WNBA just entered its most ruthless era yet. And Caitlin Clark, she's not just thriving in it. She is it. Because in this new game, the scoreboard doesn't measure points. It measures influence. And right now, Clark is undefeated. So to every WNBA player watching from the sidelines, wondering what just happened, understand this. The game has changed. Forever. You're not just players anymore. You're assets, weapons, stories. And the next chapter has already begun. Because Clark didn't just dominate a sport. She shattered the entire illusion of how sports marketing works. She exposed the truth. And now, every brand, every league, every athlete must adapt or be left behind. This isn't just basketball. This is corporate war. And Clark, she's winning it all.